So moving on to our second story, Bristol Myers Squibb's earnings. Revenue was up 39%, but that includes the addition of Celgene, which they purchased last year. On a pro forma basis, so acts like the company held Celgene for the entire of the 2019, pretends like it held Celgene for 2019, but then backs out at Otezla because the companies Celgene had to sell Otezla to complete the deal. Looking on that pro forma basis, our revenue was up 10%. Definitely kudos to the company for making that calculation because it's quite difficult to do on your own. It seems like, a lot of this was obviously driven by even with that 10%. A lot of it was still driven by the growth of drugs that came from Celgene. So Revlimid was up 18%. That's Bristol's new top-selling drug, and that came from Celgene. And now tops Eliquis, which was the top-selling drug. And then another blood cancer drug, Pomalyst, was up 21% and is now doing $835 million in sales per quarter. And that's just Bristol Myers' fifth best drug. Any thoughts on the revenue line?
I think you hit it, Brian. Bristol Myers Squibb is continuing to really benefit from that Celgene acquisition. If you look at the top products that they provide details on, obviously they have a lot of products that are on the market, but the ones that they really focus on in their earnings release, the big winners are by and large the Celgene products. Now they do have a couple of their own drugs that are doing well. Say their own drugs that they had prior to the Celgene acquisition. The blood thinner Eliquis is continuing to do well. Yervoy, cancer immunotherapy, is continuing to do well. Opdivo is their top cancer immunotherapy. Sales have declined a little bit for Opdivo. I think that could change as they pick up some additional approvals for other indications. But the big story is, like you said, Revlimid is now their #1 drug. It in 2020 pulled in $12.1 billion. That's higher than any other drug that Bristol Myers Squibb has. And then Pomalyst is another big winner. And then even if you go on down the list, Brian, some of the newer drugs all come from the Celgene deal. You've got 4 or 5 newer drugs that aren't generating a lot of substantial revenue just yet, but they will probably pick up steam over the next few years.
And just last week they got the CAR T from
Celgene.
Yeah, at long last, to just late enough that the CVR people didn't the contingent value rights that Celgene shareholders got as part of the deal. I had to be approved by the end of the year, and so too late.
I lost out on that CVR deal.
Yeah, I'm sure. I imagine there's going to be lawsuits, and you might end up getting something from it at some point. And then on the bottom line, there were losses in the fourth quarter as well as the fourth quarter of 2019, but that was due to acquisitions. Adjusted earnings was $1.46 per share compared to $1.22 in the year ago. So that's a 19.7% growth. It certainly seems like they're maximizing benefits from the Celgene acquisition on the bottom line.